Good evening. I just want to say, just before I start, I might cry. It's not because I'm upset, it's because I'm really happy. So just warning. So I would like to acknowledge the Yalukit Willem clan of the Boonwurrung people, the traditional owners of the land on which we are gathered, and pay my respects to their elders past, present and future. Can you hear me all right? I would like to acknowledge the ongoing struggle of the Indigenous peoples of this land, their continuing custodianship, love and respect that is bestowed upon it. So, ko takitimi te waka, ko te awa pūtahi te maunga, ko taurikai tai te awa, Ngāti Kahungunu me Ngāti Raukau o ngā iwi, Ngāti Kere me Ngāti Rākau o ngā hapu, Rongo Marairo te marae, kawe ki te mutunga Ropiha taku papa, Irene Walker taku mama, ko Gina Ropiha taku ingoa. So that's the traditional way for me to introduce myself to you. Just so you know where I'm from, my... Oh! Oh, sorry. Yep. So that's the North Island of New Zealand. So my dad's mum is from the top black dot and my dad's dad is from the bottom black dot. So my mother has Indigenous heritage also, but her family doesn't acknowledge that. Aitea te wāhine e roto I te pāhara keke, married the woman found in the flax plantation. So weavers, Pam, Cheryl, Chris, apprentices, if you feel lonely or if you're feeling unappreciated in Australia, pop over to New Zealand because men will love you over there. This is my tutor, Marty Vreda. So I trained as a printmaker. I went to fine art school, so I trained in the European, I guess, tradition, Western tradition of fine arts. As a printmaker, trained for 4 years, did what everybody else does. And Marty is an extremely profound influence on me. He's an exceptional teacher and a patient, virtuous model of mentorship and someone who has very, very significantly affected my life and who I am today. So a little while ago, after I arrived in Australia in 2004, I started making personal adornment. I'd never made any jewellery before at all because I was a printmaker and a sculptor. My passion is for sculpture. So, because I didn't have a studio or anything, I just started making small wearable objects. So I was a really awful student, and I wanted to express my gratitude to this man for being so incredibly patient and wonderful with me. I am a teacher now. I've been a high school teacher for 17 years. Don't do it. But yeah, I appreciate what it means for someone to give that amount of energy to you. So the idea for this necklace, it was part of an exhibition that travelled to several different countries. I was pretty stoked that they'd put it on the cover of the catalogue in Mexico. Looks way more sexy with Spanish around it, or inside it. And I asked Marty to name the work, and this is what he said in response to the work. So the idea is that Marty would give the necklace to someone that he wanted to express gratitude to, and when they got the necklace, they would take as many beads off it as they wanted and replace them with their own. So eventually it would travel all over the place and be given to lots of different people, and it would completely change. So I have no idea what it looks like now. I made a replica one, so the one that's on the cover is the replica, and the one that is on the left is the one that Marty has distributed to I don't know where. So Marty called this necklace Ako Marama, and he said, when you teach something that you are passionate about, the teaching transcends information exchange. When trust, acceptance and grace are present in the learning environment, something special happens. The kaupapa and the intent, so the message and the intent of this project tell me of your ability to trust and accept, projecting a possibility into the future and letting it go. I have thought long and hard about the piece of jewellery and named it ako marama. The translation for this is roughly understanding and enlightenment. The word ako is a beautifully poetic concept that in its fullness means both teaching and learning. Therefore, ako marama can mean teaching understanding, or it could be about engaging in a journey of enlightenment. This allows me to learn from you when engaging in your latest work. Thus, the dynamic of our relationship continues to evolve through collaborative practice. So this is kind of the beginning of something that I've been kind of thinking about since 2011, and that's getting involved with other people. So I was fortunate enough to get a really awesome job at a crazy little art school in 2009. So I got to teach TAFE, which was incredible. It was called Brighton Bay Art Design and Photography. I don't know if anyone knows of it, but it's pretty influential in Melbourne and in Victoria. There are a lot of artists, designers, fine artists, architects, crazy amounts of people who went through that school. The people who were at that school were remarkable, remarkable people. So I went in there just on a short contract to teach printmaking and drawing and painting and illustration. And I kind of got shoulder tapped by the 3D tutor. I was wearing a brooch and he was like, I want to buy that for my wife. And I went, that's fine. And he said, do you want a job? And I went, yes, please. So I started attending his classes, and one of the briefs that he taught those students, so the youngest student would be 18 because it was post-secondary, and the oldest student I taught was 62, and she rocked it. One of the briefs that I really loved was called Homage, and the students had to make cutlery in response to someone that they admired. I made a set myself, and in response to this really strange artwork by a man called Arnold Manaki Wilson, who is a Maori sculptor, you can see that he is a little bit different to probably the stuff that you're used to seeing. So he was probably one of the first exponents of Maori modernism. I make really weird things, and one of the reasons for that is because I like weird things. I like things that I don't understand, and potentially that other people don't understand either. So often my art is a little bit odd. So in terms of traditional Maori art, this on the left is a moko comb, so it's a comb that's used to pierce ink into your body. And on the right is what's called a whao, so that's a chisel. Interestingly, when they do moko, so the chisel on the right is for wood, but the tattooing process is a two-stage process. So they actually they cut your skin open with a whao, a special one, a little one, and then they put the comb through with the ink. So these aren't for eating, but they're sort of what I based my designs on, as well as this work. To me, utilitarian objects are incredibly interesting. And I was talking to Freya about the fact that in the Māori world, there's no separation between art and life, and there is there's no difference between an object that's utilitarian and an object that is owned and, well, nothing's owned, that's possessed at a point in time by someone who's highborn or lowborn, which is amazing to me and incredibly important. So I enjoy things that are modest and meaningful and useful. I love that ceramics is back in style, because people get to have beautiful things in their life. There is, if you look at this, Māori modernism, this guy was making this work in the 50s and 60s. There's a precedent for it in Pacific art. This is a Māori carving. It's super funky, and it shows a link between the Pacific and New Zealand, and it's incredibly beautiful. It's the most stylish thing ever. So it sits above a doorway. That's what a pare is. So these are what I made. They're the spoon and the fork. So on the left is mohio, which means understanding. I'm wearing mohio at the moment. And on the right is tika. Tika means to be correct, to be upright, and to be true, just, and fair. So I made these for my students at the TAFE. if they were in need of support. So on the bottom right there it says there's a Māori word, manaakitanga. If they were in need of manaakitanga, then they could just give me a little note, or if they wanted to, they could come and see me, but I understand that that's very hard for young people. So I just said, just drop me a little note, send me an email. It can be anonymous, I don't know if you can do that, but just let me know what you want, let me know why you need help, and I'll pick the object that I think best represents your need. At the moment, my beautiful friend Kirsten has tika, she has the fork. She's doing her PhD at the moment. She's given me permission to tell this story. Kirsten is Maori, but she was born in Australia, so she's very disconnected from, or she feels at times very disconnected from Maori culture. She really, really wants a tiki. She wants me to make a tiki, but we haven't quite had time to suss that out, and she really wants to pay me, which I don't want. So I thought you can have this in the meantime to help you and to support you. She's wearing this at the opening of a show called Both Sides of the Street that we were in, where we got to collaborate with Indigenous artists, which was amazing. I was in Europe at the time, so she wore tika there because she wanted me there with her. And Kirsten is a very nervous person. She's ridiculously intelligent and incredibly onto it, but she feels great anxiety. And she said, I was talking to her about this last night, she said just the fact that she had to wear her glasses to this opening would have been enough for her to not go. So she said, having me there with her was really important to her. It was, at the time, she said there were no kind of black or brown galleries functioning, so Black Dot wasn't open. I can't remember the name of it. I'm not going to even try. Anyway, there was a big vacuum, and this was the first show where everybody turned up from the community. So she said it was an incredibly important event, and it was great to have that support. Oh my God, I'm at 10 minutes. Okay, so that's the show, blah, blah, blah. That's the work I made. It's my hair. That was the work of the Indigenous artist. This is work that was installed recently at Black Dot in response to the Pacific Women's Weaving Circle. So like I said, I make really weird things. I collect stuff that people don't want because I really like it, and I don't like the fact that people get rid of cool stuff. So this is... Whiriwhiri Aropu means group discussion, and it's about what goes on when you get a group of Pacific women together, which is a whole lot of laughing and good fun.
Thanks, Gina.